G'day, welcome to Instruments of Destruction. Today's video is some tips that I've learned when using moving items. Just trying to think what I'm doing here. I haven't been in sandbox mode yet, so I'm just going to hit go with that and see what I've got. Okay, it's back to the island I was up to, which is going to be annoying. So anyway, here's a machine I was just creating. I was just mucking around, and it's actually got quite a few moving parts on it. So it's actually got this particular pivot part and this circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shred it up. If you hit delete, it'll follow the trail back to the core blocks, which is very handy. I'll delete this off, and I'll just start with just a cab. I'll get myself back to a cab. Alright, so we're at a cab. Now, this particular cab has studs on the side but none on the bottom, so depending on how you're building, what your tyre choice is going to be, if you want to get yourself studs to get down underneath, you're going to need something like a 6-way block. Stick it on the back for this build, one underneath. This is just give me a rough chassis to start using. That'll get us going, I suppose. So for this build, I've got no idea. I'm just going to wing it and go with you guys. So the mirror tool up the top is an absolutely wonderful tool to play with. So let's just put some treads on this thing. Actually, I'll go out one. I'll go out one block to the side, and I want to be heavy, just to get the center of the treads down. Right, so it gives us a rough build shape. That's actually quite wide. That will work from there. So what I'm getting at is, for anything that's moving, let's say for instance we wanted to make a bulldozer scoop in the front of this, and you've got all of the different moving powered arms and that sort of stuff. They have quite some advanced settings on them, so if you actually launch out the show advanced, you get this input table down on the bottom right, and when we highlight the items, let's say I'm going to use this rotating bearing, I'll stick it back here, so it shows that it's on the arrow controls here in the on the edge. So if we want to change its controls, we can use the remap inputs option to set it to what we want. Now I want these facing forward, and now if you can imagine, that's going to be an up-down control for us. So we've actually want a strength. How strong is it going to be? And that's the options for this particular connector. Now if we connect on a different arm onto here, if we look at this arrow on the edge of the part, it shows you that one's pointing outwards and the other one's pointing outwards. Now if we make an arm rotate upwards and we want to keep it parallel, so it's actually square to the front of these parts, this part will need to move in the opposite direction but located with it. So I need to take the mirror off on this part, I'll rotate it, and now what we'll do is I'll just stick something on the end so we can see what's going on. Give it a beam. Oh, sorry, I want to be on mirror. Stick a second blade on there, just so we can watch the action of what we're doing. So now if we make this move, using now the T and R keys, let's see if I got it right or not. No, we haven't, because we didn't move, we didn't link the forward one to the same key. So what I will do is pick that up. So with ourselves in mirror mode, I want this one to be on the T and R key at the same time. So what that means is I move synchronicity with synchronicity. So they should move in a similar way, but both at the same time. Let's see what we get there. So we can see there, I have it all wrong. One's moving to the side, and one is moving up and down. What we want is to both keep the face facing forward. Now we need to look at this one. We want to rotate it, and it's rotated both now because we're in mirror mode, so we just need to remember that. And which way, so this one is now out of rotation, so just be careful when you stop and start with the rotation tool that it may not equalize each side at the same time. So now we're down to testing again. So we've got them both set to the T and R control for this one, and the T and R control for this one, and that's the direction that he wants to move when T is moved. And this one, it doesn't show, unfortunately. It gives you the arrow to show it's out to the side, but doesn't show which way it actually is going to move. So let's have a look. When we move our T and R keys, this time it is moving out of sync. Okay, troubleshooting time. The power, so one of them is incorrect. Make sure mirror is off. So now they're both pointing the right way, but their angle strength, which is how fast they move, is different to the base one. So the base one, we set it to 3, so this one needs to be with 3, this one needs to be at 3, and we know this one should be at 3 as well. So now give ourselves a go. Now what we should see is those swords should move with T and R and should move parallel. So the one on the left hand side is doing what it's meant to do, it's trying to stay parallel. We're using different parts, so the actual rate of turn is different, but we can see that it was better than what it was, so it's actually staying fairly straight for us, and that other one is completely misbehaving. So we will rotate the right one, get ourselves the right way around, now the other thing, you're going, why would we be doing something like this? If you have a saw as an example and you have it set to flat, what angle does it when you're trying to cut something down? So we can lower these arms down, you know, and get down inside there. Now the arm, when it's bumping like that, is actually now stuck on this block, so we need to change the block in there so we can get that arm to come down further, and I'll put a saws on that now. So I hope this is kind of helpful for somebody out there. If you're playing around and you're trying to go, oh, why doesn't it work, or it gets stuck, or any of that sort of stuff. So we now change it. So I'm just changing this particular block out of there to be something else. Put our saws on. Now because we're changing with the changing the center of mass by putting saws on, this will get tippy on the front, but we'll put that on. Chainsaw, haven't seen that one before. Oh, because obviously I'm in sandbox mode. So there we go. Now we've got a little bit of a chopping machine. So the saws are on E and Q. If you wanted to change them to a different key, or you wanted to know how to switch on or off, the controls are in this zone. So if you get a magnet as an example, how do you switch the magnet on? Well, in this case it's E and Q. And if you've used a magnet before, the E part of the magnet is attract, and the Q part of the magnet is repel. So you can actually, and in between switches it off. That's really fun to pick up a container and throw it. So when you're working with each of the different parts, it gives you the control to switch it on or off. So if I want this chainsaw to behave separately to the saws at the front, obviously they're on Q and E at the moment, so we can actually have, that's where the programmable keys start to become useful to us. We go, alright, we'll make it Y and G to switch that one on or off. And then gives you more control over each part of what you're building. So I'm going to take that off for now. I'll just do a quick test. switch our saws on, and now we can change how we attack different things, and we're getting clipped on the outside wheel treads, I think. So let's pick that up. Let's pick the saws up just a little bit. So I'm not exactly certain on the build where we get caught, and we're trap moving slow again. So these treads have that same settings as well. So if we have a look at that, we'll give ourselves some more speed. So we'll look at our treads, and its strength is set to 1 at the moment. So we've set them to 3. We were quite tippy just a moment ago, so what we'll do is we'll add some of the heavier blocks on. Just put a row across, and we'll see if that gives us enough counterweight. And from a moving items point of view, we now have our front up and down, our saws, and we've got our speed on our treads. Because we've got the ability to change our height, saw in a way, gives us more options to muck around with. So I hope that helps. Troubleshooting for me as well. The game's brand new. I hope it gives you some tips using those advanced settings. And if you know now, you know what you're sort of looking for. Some of the other things that helps, which isn't really apparent, but it's actually really useful, is things like these saw blades. You want to know what direction it's spinning. You can change the paint color, so we can change into a black and white setting, so that we can see if they're spinning in the same direction or opposing. Now where that can be useful is if you set them to be counter rotating, so they pull inwards towards the middle. That can give you a better control when you get up to something. It grabs on and pulls you towards it. But if you want to play it a different way, you can do it the other way. So when something is in the middle, it gets ejected, and that can help as well. So just check in to see which way. So the teeth give you the clue of which way to face it. But now I've got the paint color working, it should give us a clue of what it looks like. Well, give us a cue onto how it's spinning. So that's our Q direction, and there's our E direction. Change our height. Yeah, it's getting caught on the wheels. Yeah, and I find the moving ability to go, just change how the vehicle looks, makes it a bit more fun, a bit more interactive when you're destroying stuff. So you can make it arms that are on top, or different again. So what I'll do is chop the arms off. And what will we go with? I haven't used the sliding rails yet. No, I'll call the video there. Yeah, just on the menu, the things that's not apparent on most parts is what that first arrow here does, the thing, it actually expands it, which gives you some, you know, you go, oh, I didn't realize that was that big. So the saw goes from a small one to a big one. Your strength is how long it takes before it'll stall, and the strength increases the cost of your part when you put it on. So the chainsaw doesn't have a size on it, but it has a strength. So you can put your so that's what that one's for if you're looking at it. And your tires and wheels have the same part. So your tire, put on a giant wheel. This is a free wheel, so it doesn't have it. But if we go to the medium wheel or a powered large wheel, we actually have this arrow appears, so we can make it too bigger wheel or smaller wheel. So it's just there. When you see it, it gives you an idea of what the parts are. So you can see here on the tread, it doesn't have a size, but it gives us a strength, which is handy. So I'm just trying to think what else has size on it that I remember. Oh, some of the beams as well have size as well. So if we put this beam on, it has a size as well, so it actually extends it out. So just keep an eye on that expandable button when it comes up. It gives you, you know, some extra options. So does this beam have an extender? Yes, it does. So it gives us an option straight away for that. The pivots and swivels usually don't have a size, but they've got a direction. So and the activating mode has what a slider is this will accelerate to speed, and then where a toggle is you press the button and it starts it moving, but the slider is like power and speed, so that that's the option for that one. I haven't played with pistons, so I don't really know what they have on them. Yeah, so they've just got their controls. Activate mode is just normals, so it doesn't have any extra options. And the strength is how it goes. So this one is 2 blocks long, so that's how that one works. Yeah, thank you for watching if you got this far. I'm going to wrap it up. It's been one of those games that as you watch, it gives you, as you sort of pay attention to, as you build, you go, how do I do this? And it takes a bit of a time to work it out. But being able to put 2 pivots together, place one in one direction, one in the following direction, and that gives you that parallel up and down motion, which is really handy if you're going to play with the bulldozer scoops and you want them to come up and down and look like a real bulldozer. That's how you do that. And another tip is using in your blocks the 45-degree block. If you put 2 together, obviously you're going back to 90 degrees, but if you rotate this one out, it gives you an offset from your thing and you're over 1/2. I found when you're building, sometimes you want to be over to the side, sort of half a block, but you want to be like sturdy and strong. You can do the same half over using this 3-way split block. If you use it twice, no, once will give you the same. So once gives you the same position as this one. But this one can be handy if you're making like a scoop over the top of something, so you'll have your bearing connect to one of these and then this piece on the end, and then you put your other pivot on the end of that, and it gives you a spot where you can come over the top of your structure. So when we started, we had to move this beam because we got stuck with structure in the way. I'll expand on what that looks like. So if we use this guy again, so we were getting stuck on structure. So if we did these 45-degree parts, can help you get forward of structure. So then you can have your part working sort of back down in that sort of low balance location, and have it working that way. So you finish off with your bearing going the other way, your up down one. I'm not sure if that's the right way. Let's put a blade on there again. I'll just check the operation, which is left right, and this one is left right, so we want it all working at the same time. This strength is 1, so it should move slow, and this one is 1 as well, so it should move slow. So let's just quickly test that. So before we had the saw, the blade up high on the machine when we started, so now it's down low. So let's see. Yep, got it the right way around. Yay! First go. So that gives us that sword being in that straight position. Yeah, I mean, a saw's a boring way to do it, but it's long and flat and shows you how it works. So yeah, if you wonder why your machine's slow, check the speed of your wheels. If your bearings are moving slow, they don't seem to be spinning like a crazy demon machine, it'll be related to that sort of stuff as well. So yeah, have some fun, enjoy the game. I've been having a ball. I'll put up some other videos as it comes to light. So here we can see we need the saw blade thing to go down to get out of the way. So we want it up in the air so we can get access to this wall over this container. So that's, you know, sort of stuff out how you use it. Yeah, thanks very much. Catch you guys later.